Okay, so welcome students to our first lecture on fluid mechanics. Okay, so this subject of fluid mechanics is I think new to you. Why it is new? Because till now, whatever the subject you had learned, that is whether it is a material science, metallurgy, or whether it is thermodynamics. Okay, so some part of that subject, it was uh, you are having some background of it in 12th standard, 10th standard, 9th standard. Okay, but this fluid mechanics subject, it is a totally new subject subject to you because no basics of this fluid mechanics it was given to the students in 12th standard and before. Okay, so first of all we will see what are the units which are there in fluid mechanics. So our first unit, it will be properties of fluid. So in this unit, we are going to see what is fluid, what are the different phenomena or properties the fluid possess. Okay. Then our second unit is fluid statics. So in this fluid statics, we are going to learn the behavior of fluid at rest. Okay, when the fluid is not moving. Then the third unit is fluid kinematics. So in fluid kinematics, we are going to learn the fluid in motion. Okay, what are the different physical phenomena the fluid possesses when the fluid is in motion. But here we are not going to consider the forces. Okay, so the study of fluid in motion without forces, that will be fluid kinematics. Then the next unit will be fluid dynamics. So in fluid dynamics, we are going to talk about the different types of forces which are present when the fluid is moving. Okay. Then unit number fifth, it will be internal and external. Okay. That means how the what phenomena the fluid possesses when the fluid is flowing internally through a pipe, okay, or through a closed channel, as well as what are the different physical phenomena when the fluid is flowing in open channel. For example, the flow of water in a canal or in a river. Okay, so that will be an example of external flow, and flow of water in pipe. It will be example of internal. Then the last unit, or which is one of the simplest unit, that will be dimensional analysis and similitude. Okay, so this will be the sixth unit which you are going to learn in fluid mechanics. Okay, so our unit number one, which we are going to start today, that is properties of fluid. So this properties of fluid is actually a very small unit or simple unit, and time allotted to this unit by university is 6 hours. Okay, so this is the syllabus of properties of fluid, unit number one. So in unit number one, you are going to see what is fluid, its definition, okay, concept of continuum. Then you are going to learn the different properties of fluid, such as density of the fluid, specific weight, specific gravity, viscosity. You are going to learn the different laws, such as Newton's law of viscosity. Okay. Then based on the Newton's law, what are the different types of fluid, its classification, and so on. Okay, so this will be the curriculum or syllabus for unit number one, that is properties of fluid. Okay, then see as in your curriculum, whatever the subjects you are learning, so there is one particular objective and there is one outcome. Okay, what student will going to learn from this subject. Okay, so that is called as so for this subject, okay, the code for our subject is 208, and for this subject code 208, there are six objectives or six outcomes. Okay, so what the student will going to learn from the subject? From this subject, student will be able to determine the property. Okay, the student will be able to apply the laws of fluid statics and concept of buoyancy. Now, what is this buoyancy? We are going to learn in second unit. Okay, then the students will going to identify the type of fluid flow and terms associated with fluid kinematics. Okay. Then in unit number 4, student will going to apply the principle of fluid dynamics to laminar flow. Okay. Now what is laminar flow? Again, we are going to learn in unit number 4. Then in unit number 5, student will going to estimate the friction and minor losses in internal flow and determine capillary formation. Okay. Now all this you are going to learn in unit number 5. And in unit number 6, which is dimensional analysis, student will be able to construct the mathematical correlation, okay, using dimensionless parameter. So all these are the 6 course outcome. Okay. Now we will start our first topic, or we are going to start with our first unit teaching. So our first question that will be related to our subject. Okay. So our subject is fluid mechanics. So first of all, you should know what is fluid. So anyone, can you tell me what is fluid? Yes, some student. Anyone, what is fluid? Or tell me what is solid? Yes, anyone? Yes, students are there. Am I audible? आवाज येतोय का? Okay, so काय असतो fluid काय असतो?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Have you seen the fluid? एक मिनिट है, काही मुलं बहुतेक जॉईन होत आहे.
A substance can flow liquid.
Okay, so okay, yeah, very good. So anything which can flow, okay, it is called as fluid. Okay, so any substance, any material which has property to flow, so that substance it will be called as fluid. Okay, but this is not the technical definition of fluid. Okay, how the fluid differs from solid. So we are going to uh, see this from this slide. Okay, now 1 minute. Okay, now consider this is any solid block, and consider this is any imaginary mass of fluid in the form of block. Okay, now what happens in solid? I think you had learned in strength of material. If you are going to apply the external force F, okay, if you are going to apply the external force F on top layer, okay, so what will happen? Deformation will take place. Okay, so that deformation will be del X. Okay, now go on increasing the value of F. आप F का वैल्यू करो, सपोज पहले आपने 5 किलो न्यूटन निकाल अप्लाई किया, तो 0.1 mm डिफॉर्मेशन हुआ. देन आपने 10 किलो न्यूटन कर दिया, सो बेसिकली वो 0.5 mm हो गया. देन आपने 100 किलो न्यूटन अप्लाई किया, तो 1 mm डिफॉर्मेशन हो गया. ओके, सो if you are going to apply the force F, there will be a limited deformation del X, and more the value of F, more will be the deflection del X. Now what will happen if you remove this force? Okay, if you remove this force and the body is in elastic region, so this solid body has the property to regain its original shape and size. Okay, आपने जैसी force remove की, okay, as soon as you remove the force, this solid will going to acquire its original shape and size. So this is a property which is shown by solid. Okay, and this property of solid differs it from fluid. Okay, so हमने suppose imaginary mass of fluid लिया. Okay, and if you are dividing the fluid into number of layers like this, okay, and if you are applying small force dF, okay, if you are going to apply very small amount of force, okay, 0.1 Newton or 0.01 Newton, इतना small force आपने apply किया, okay, so you will observe this layer of fluid will going to move with some velocity u. Okay, and सॉलिड में क्या हुआ था? सॉलिड में हमने फोर्स रिमूव कर दिया, तो उसने उसके ओरिजिनल शेप एंड साइज रिगेन किया था. बट यहाँ पे आपने डीएफ को अप्लाई किया है, तो फ्लूइड का डिफॉर्मेशन होगा, ओके, कंटिन्यूस डिफॉर्मेशन होगा, और आपने फोर्स रिमूव भी कर दिया, तो उसका डिफॉर्मेशन कंटिन्यू ही रहेगा. ओके, सो एंड फ्लूइड इज बेसिकली अ सब्सटेंस, ओके, which will undergo continuous deformation, okay, under the action of small shear stress. Okay, that means this F divided by area, this force will be shear force. Okay, यहाँ पे जो अप्लाई कर रहे हो, that force is shear force. आप नॉर्मल टू सरफेस अप्लाई करते हैं तो नॉर्मल फोर्स रहते थे. ओके, आप पैरेलल टू सरफेस अप्लाई कर रहे हो, so it is a shear force. So the shear force divided by surface area on which it is applied. Okay, so this is nothing but shear stress. Okay, that means if you are applying the shear stress on any substance, and that substance is going undergoing continuous deformation. Okay, so that substance is called as fluid. Okay, so I think definition is understood. What is fluid? Fluid is nothing but it is a substance which undergo continuous deformation under the action of infinitely small shear stress. Okay, that means fluid has a property to undergo continuous deformation. If you just apply a very small amount of shear stress or shear force, that fluid will have continuous deformation. Okay, so any substance that will have continuous deformation under the action of infinitely small shear stress, that substance is nothing but fluid. Okay, so because of this property of continuous deformation, the fluid is capable of flowing. Okay, so example of fluid, all liquids are fluid and all gases are fluid. Okay, that means if you are applying some force on liquid or gases, so they have the property to undergo the motion. Okay, and if even if you remove the force, it will be in motion. Okay, for understanding this, consider a glass of water. Okay, just apply the force on water. Okay, आपने ग्लास के ऊपर सपोज कोई फोर्स अप्लाई किया, सो यू विल ऑब्जर्व वाटर विल स्पिल आउट ऑफ ग्लास. ओके, आपने फोर्स अप्लाई करके फिर से फोर्स स्टॉप कर दी, मतलब आपने ग्लास को एक झटका दिया और ग्लास को रोक दिया, बट यू विल ऑब्जर्व वाटर का जो मोशन है वो कंटिन्यू रहता है. ओके, बट सॉलिड के केस में ऐसा नहीं होगा. ओके, आप आइसक्रीम लो, क्या आइसक्रीम को आप थोड़ा सा पुश करो, ग्लास में आइसक्रीम लो और उसको पुश करो, तो बेसिकली आइसक्रीम जो स्पिल आउट नहीं होगा, बट वाटर को आप फोर्स अप्लाई करोगे तो वाटर स्पिल आउट हो जाएगा. ओके, दिस इज व्हाई, this is because the water has continuous deformation, and as per the definition, water is a fluid. Okay, then next important property of fluid which differs them from solid is the fluid have no shape of its own. Okay, water has no shape. Okay, gases have no shape, but solid has a particular shape. Okay, solids are formed by a particular crystal structure, and in that crystal structure all the atom and molecules, they are having their own position. Okay, but in case of fluid, these molecules of liquid and gases, they are held together by cohesive and adhesive forces. Okay, there is no crystal structure in liquid, so because of that the the fluids, they have no shape. But if you put the water in glass, so water will take the shape of the glass. Okay, or if you put the gas in a closed container, so that gas will take the shape of closed container. Okay, so the fluid has no shape of its own, but they contain its own volume. Okay, उनका वॉल्यूम होता है. आप गैस को मेजर कर सकते हो, वाटर को मेजर कर सकते हो, पेट्रोल को मेजर कर सकते हो in terms of liters. Okay, but they have no shape. Then example of fluids or classification, further classification of fluid is fluids consist of liquids and gases. Okay, I think all this we had discussed. So again we will have a quick review of the difference between solid, liquid and gases. So solid have a particular shape and the solid has a fixed volume. Okay, then liquids, they are the fluid, a type of fluid in which they have no shape. Okay, but if filled in a container, so they will take the shape of the container. But liquid have a fixed volume. Okay, that means आपने 10 लीटर के जार में 1 लीटर आपका water डाला, so that water will going to take only 1 liter of volume. Okay, but the gas are different from liquid in a sense that the gas take the shape of the container and the entire volume of the container. That means आपने closed jar में 1 लीटर गैस फिल की, so basically 1 लीटर गैस जो है वो पूरे 10 लीटर जार को कवर कर देता है. ओके, लिक्विड क्या करता है, 10 लीटर जार में 1 लीटर का वॉल्यूम लेता है, बट गैस क्या करेगा, गैस जो है वो 1 लीटर गैस भी 10 लीटर के जार में पूरा 10 लीटर वॉल्यूम ऑक्यूपाई कर लेंगे. Okay, so this is a basic difference between solid, liquid, and gases. Okay, in addition to that, liquids are incompressible, gases are compressible. Now what is incompressibility? Compressibility, I think you had learned this in thermodynamics. Okay, thermodynamics में already I think you had gone through the difference between liquid and gases. Okay, so the study of gases, okay, that part was covered by you in thermodynamics. Okay, or thermodynamics was the thing, but it was the study of gases. Okay, so आपका जो gases का basics है, okay, study flow energy equation and everything, so you had learned in semester number 1 thermodynamics. Now in semester number 2 you are going to learn, or we are going to focus on liquids. Okay, so although the name given to this subject is fluid mechanics, but the properties which you are going to learn in fluid mechanics, they will be dealing with liquids. Okay? Then fluid as a continuum. Okay. Now what is continuum? I think everyone knows. Okay. I think thermodynamics में भी आपका हुआ है gases as continuum. Okay. Now continuum means now this basically all the fluid means liquid and gases, they consist of number of molecules. Okay, this number of molecules, they are closely spaced to each other, and there is cohesive and adhesive forces which are acting. Okay, so the distance between these molecules is very large as molecular distance. Okay, जो molecule का जो diameter होता है, okay, वो diameter के center to center distance जो है उससे मॉलिक्यूल्स के बीच का जो डिस्टेंस होता है वो ज्यादा होता है. ओके, सो also in case of these fluids, the number of molecules involved are very high. That means even in a 1 mm of fluid there can be hundreds or millions of molecules. Okay, there can be present. Hence, the separation is normally negligible. It is not possible to separate each molecule, okay, from other molecule, because उनके बीच में intermolecular forces भी होता है, उनका size इतना small होता है, एक very small volume में lakhs and thousands of molecules होते हैं. Okay, so because of that, the properties of these molecules, they may differ from the entire properties of fluid. Okay, so जो भी हम प्रॉपर्टी लर्न करते हैं इन फ्लूइड मैकेनिक्स, that is not a property of molecule, but that is a property of all the molecules together, taken together as a bulk. Okay, so basically I think macroscopic and microscopic study जो है वो आपको thermodynamics में I think हो चुका है. Okay, here the density of a molecule, the temperature of the molecule, or whatever the enthalpy of the molecule, it may be differ. एंड जब आप सारे मॉलिक्यूल्स जो है हर मॉलिक्यूल का डिफरेंट रहेगा, बट आप क्या करते हो जब ये सारे मॉलिक्यूल को इफ दे आर टेकन टुगेदर, ओके, so that is nothing but bulk of molecule. फॉर एग्जांपल आपके क्लास में हर स्टूडेंट का जो परसेंट होगा, ओके, किसी का 80% होगा, किसी का 60% होगा, किसी का 40% होगा, बट जब हम ACA डिवीजन की बात करते हैं तो बेसिकली उसमें हम क्या करते हैं, इन सब बच्चों का एक एवरेज रिजल्ट देखते हैं. ओके, कि बेसिकली ACA के जो बच्चे हैं दे आर गुड स्टूडेंट्स, दे आर मोस्ट ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स आर डिस्टिंक्शन. ओके, बट हम वहाँ ये बात नहीं कर रहे हैं कि कुछ बच्चे उसमें फेल भी है, कुछ बच्चे. ओके, सो व्हाट वी आर डूइंग, वी आर टेकिंग द एंटायर क्लास एज अ बल्क. ओके, सिमिलरली जब हम कोई भी फ्लूइड का प्रॉपर्टी जब स्टडी करेंगे, so in that case all the fluid particles are taken together as a bulk. Okay, and hence the fluid are treated as continuum. Okay, so continuum is nothing but it is a physical phenomena in which the number of molecules are whatever the study is made on the number of molecules, and their property is taken as the property of the entire fluid. Okay, then after understanding the definition of fluid, we will see the classification of fluid. Okay, so fluids are basically classified as real fluids and ideal fluids. Okay, now definition क्या था fluid का? What was the definition of fluid? Yes, anyone from student? Just 1 minute. Yes, Abhishek Bhalerao present.
Yes, sir.
What is the definition of fluid? Can you tell me?
Fluid. The substance continues undergo deformation.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so fluid is nothing but it is a substance which will undergo continuous deformation. Okay, that means suppose हमने fluid 1 minute. Okay, that means fluid एक ऐसा substance है जो continuous deformation करेगा. Okay, that means suppose you are taking this as a bulk of fluid. Okay, this is a bulk of fluid, and all this on this fluid, if you are applying a very small force dF. Okay, so this fluid should continuous undergo deformation. Okay, that means आपने ग्लास ऑफ वाटर लिया, ग्लास ऑफ वाटर को नीचे मतलब एम्प्टी किया, सो वाटर ने जो फ्लो होना चाहिए, बिकॉज वाटर इज अ फ्लूइड. आपने हनी लिया, हनी को आपने नीचे पोर किया, तो हनी भी वही वेलोसिटी से फ्लो होना चाहिए, बिकॉज एक्सेलरेशन ड्यू टू ग्रेविटी दोनों पे सेम अप्लाई हो रहा है. ओके, आपने ऑयल लिया, ऑयल को भी नीचे स्पिल किया, तो ऑयल ने भी वाटर की वेलोसिटी से फ्लो होना चाहिए. ओके, सारे के सारे फ्लूइड्स जो है, सारे के सारे जो लिक्विड्स है, उन्होंने एक ही वेलोसिटी से फ्लो होना चाहिए. ओके, बट इज दिस द केस? नो. ओके, आप करके देखो. आप एक ग्लास में हनी लो, एक ग्लास में वाटर लो, और दोनों को एक साथ पोर करो. यू विल ऑब्जर्व वाटर का ग्लास जो है वो जल्दी खाली हो जाएगा, और हनी जो है वो स्लोली स्लोली एम्प्टी होगा. ओके, so it means there is something which is opposing or some resistance is offered by the fluid. Okay, जब आपका फ्लूइड फ्लो होता है तो बेसिकली फ्लूइड के अंदर से ही कुछ प्रॉपर्टी होती है जो फ्लूइड फ्लो को अपोज करती है. ओके, और ये प्रॉपर्टी हर फ्लूइड में डिफरेंट होती है. ओके, वाटर में कम है इसलिए वाटर क्विकली एम्प्टी हो जाता है, एंड हनी में या फिर ऑयल में ज्यादा है इसलिए ऑयल और हनी जो है वो स्लोली स्लोली फ्लो होते हैं. ओके, सो ideal fluids are the fluid, so that property is nothing but viscosity. Okay, so ideal fluids are the fluid which has no viscosity. Okay, that means they will not going to have any resistance to fluid flow. They have no surface tension. अभी surface tension क्या होता है ये हम आगे देखेंगे. Okay, and is ideally incompressible. Now what is compressibility and incompressibility? Now suppose you are taking a piston cylinder arrangement. Okay, if you are taking a piston cylinder arrangement, and if you are filling suppose 1 liter of fluid. Okay, यहाँ पे 1 liter fluid है. Okay, and you are applying some external force. Okay, so if the fluid is not changing its volume, आप जितनी भी फोर्स अप्लाई कर रहे हो, ये 1 लीटर का लिक्विड 1 लीटर ही रहेगा, और जो फोर्स है वो उसका प्रेशर इंक्रीज कर रहा है सिर्फ, बट उसका वॉल्यूम चेंज नहीं हो रहा है. सो दैट टाइप ऑफ फ्लूइड इज कॉल्ड एज इनकम्प्रेसिबल फ्लूइड. Okay, an example of incompressible fluids are all liquids. Okay, water is incompressible, oil is incompressible, honey is incompressible, petrol, diesel, etc. All these are incompressible. And suppose there is another fluid, or suppose there is another piston cylinder arrangement. Okay, and you are applying the force. Okay, but on the application of force, what is happening? This piston is moving forward, and as the piston is moving forward, the volume of this fluid is changing. Okay, its pressure will increase, volume will decrease. So that type of fluid which has ability to compress, okay, on the application of external force, so that fluid is called as compressible fluid. So basically compressible fluid jo hote hain, they are all gases. Okay, so air is compressible in nature, hydrogen, oxygen, etc. These all are compressible in nature. Okay, and study of this compressible fluid is learned by you in thermodynamics. So here we are going to talk only about liquids which are incompressible in nature. So ideal fluid should be incompressible in nature. Okay, so ideal fluid jo hote hain, these are the fluid which has no viscosity, that means no resistance to motion, no surface tension, and is ideally incompressible. Okay, so that type of fluid is called as ideal fluid. Okay, Actually, ideal fluids are the imaginary fluids. Okay, no ideal fluid exists in nature. It is just a theoretical definition. Okay, but for practical purpose, in case of liquid, water is treated as an ideal fluid, and in case of gases, air is taken as an ideal fluid. Okay, then next is real fluid. Okay, so vice versa is the definition. Ideal fluid का opposite real fluid. Okay, so all the fluid existing in nature which has viscosity, कभी फ्लूइड को विस्कोसिटी है, फ्लूइड को सरफेस टेंशन है, ओके, और फ्लूइड जो है वो कॉम्प्रेसिबल भी हो सकता है और इनकॉम्प्रेसिबल भी हो सकता है, ओके, such type of fluid is called as real fluid. So the fluid existing in nature which has viscosity, which has surface tension, and which can be compressible or incompressible. Okay, liquid है तो incompressible रहेगा और gas है तो compressible रहेगा. Okay, so these fluids are called as real fluids. Okay, now the example of real fluids are all the fluids existing in nature are real fluids. Okay, water is a water को हम ideal fluid भी बोलते हैं, but actually water is a real fluid. एयर को हम आइडियल फ्लूइड बोलते हैं, बट एक्चुअली एयर इज ऑल्सो अ रियल फ्लूइड, बिकॉज एयर और वाटर को भी विस्कोसिटी होती है, सरफेस टेंशन होता है. ओके, देन हनी, पेट्रोल, डीजल, ओके, ग्लिसरीन, all these liquids, okay, as well as hydrogen, oxygen, all these gases, okay, xenon, etc., krypton, all these are real fluids. Now after having the overview of fluid, we will see what is fluid mechanics. Okay, because our subject is fluid mechanics, so you should know actually what you are going to learn in fluid mechanics. So the fluid mechanics is a branch of science and engineering which deals with the study of fluid. Okay, fluid mechanics, so it will be mechanics of fluid, a branch of science or engineering which deals with fluid. Now what you learn in mechanics, you learn that substance at rest or in motion, with and without considering the forces. Okay, so mechanics means fluid means the study will science will going to deal with fluid, and mechanics means it will be dealing with the fluid at rest or in motion. Okay, now here in kinematics we will not consider the forces, but in dynamics we will consider the forces. Okay, so generalized definition is the branch of science and engineering which deals with the study of fluid at rest or in motion, with and without considering the force acting on it. Okay, so based on this definition, there are three branches of fluid mechanics. Okay, first will be fluid statics. So as the name suggests, statics. So it will be the study of fluid at rest. Okay, so the branch of science and engineering which deals with the study of fluid at rest. Okay, it is called as fluid statics. And second is fluid kinematics. So kinematics is nothing but the study of fluid in motion without considering the forces acting on it. Okay, so fluid statics, we are going to learn this in unit number 2. Fluid kinematics, we are going to learn all its laws, okay, in unit number 3. The next is fluid dynamics. So fluid dynamics is nothing but the study of fluid in motion considering the forces acting on it. Okay, so the study of fluid in motion, which forces acting on it, it is called as fluid dynamics, and it will be our unit number 4. Okay, then fluid mechanics basically deals with liquid and gases, but in our subject basically the focus is given only on liquids. Okay, then what are the application of this fluid mechanics? Okay, what are the career opportunities which you will have after learning this subject? Okay, so basically fluid mechanics is one of the basic subject. Okay, and there are number of subjects which you are going to learn in third year, final year, such as heat transfer, power plant engineering, okay, turbo machines, okay, gas propulsion and GTJP, okay, gas propulsion, and so on. There are many subjects, energy management, okay, energy engineering. So all these subjects they will be requiring the basic knowledge of fluid mechanics. Okay, again fluid mechanics is also one of the very important subject as far as interviews are concerned. Okay, बिकॉज इंटरव्यू में आपका बेसिक चेक किया जाता है. ओके. और बेसिक सब्जेक्ट जो है या फिर आपके मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग की जो फाउंडेशन सब्जेक्ट है, so there are 4 foundation subject. First is fluid mechanics, second is strength of material, third is engineering thermodynamics, and fourth one is engineering, you can say material science, और पांचवा भी आप बोल सकते हो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. ओके. तो ये 5 आपके बेसिक सब्जेक्ट है जो आप सेकंड ईयर में सीखते हो, और यू विल फाइंड आपके जो इंटरव्यूज होते हैं उसमें यही सब पूछा जाता है. ओके. आपका जो सेकंड ईयर है, हमारा करिकुलम इस तरह डिजाइन है कि सेकंड ईयर में बेसिक सब्जेक्ट आते हैं, थर्ड ईयर में एप्लीकेशन बेस्ड सब्जेक्ट आते हैं जिसमें सेकंड ईयर के जो आपने सीखा है उसको आप अप्लाई करते हो, एंड फाइनल ईयर में आपकी जो रिसेंट टेक्नोलॉजीज होती है उसके ऊपर आपको ओवरव्यू होता है, और अगेन उसमें थर्ड ईयर और सेकंड ईयर का बेसिक लगता है. ओके. सो आपके जो बेसिक फाउंडेशन सब्जेक्ट्स होते हैं वो आपको सेकंड ईयर में होते हैं. So, what are the application of this fluid mechanics? So, fluid mechanics has a wide application in industries. There is a separate branch of plumbing, okay, piping and plumbing design. So, in that you are going to enter knowledge of fluid mechanics is required. Okay, then fluid mechanics not only deal with industry. Again, if you are dealing in human science, okay, you might have seen इन आई थिंक इंडिया के ही आईआईटी के कुछ स्टूडेंट्स हैं, उन्होंने आर्टिफिशियल हार्ट जो है मैकेनिकल आर्टिफिशियल हार्ट बनाया है. ओके. सो जिनको मतलब कुछ या फिर कुछ वॉल्स जो होते हैं, आपके हार्ट खराब हो जाता है तो पेस मेकर वगैरह बैठाया जाता है. ओके. तो वहाँ पे आपकी जो ब्लड का जो सर्कुलेशन मेंटेन करना होता है, so everything for that designing you will require the knowledge of fluid mechanics. Okay. Again, there is one industry called as marine engineering. So marine engineering में भी आपको fluid mechanics का पूरा knowledge होना चाहिए, because आपका जो ship है वो fluid में, which is a sea water, उसमें कैसे behave करना है, करने वाला है, आपको वो understand होना चाहिए. Okay. Then next is aircraft and space application. Again, air is nothing but a fluid. Okay. So आपका जो एयर आप एरोप्लेन या फिर एयरक्राफ्ट जो डिजाइन कर रहे हो, हाउ इट विल गोइंग टू बिहेव. ओके. उसके लिए आपको फ्लूइड का नेचर पहले पता होना चाहिए. देन अगेन ऑटोमोबाइल इंडस्ट्री, और इफ यू कैन से जो कार का डेवलपमेंट होता है, कार का जो शेप वगैरह इकोनॉमिक्स डिजाइन किया जाता है, तो उसमें भी आपके एयर की प्रॉपर्टीज आपको अच्छे से पता होनी चाहिए. अगेन फॉर दैट यू विल रिक्वायर द नॉलेज ऑफ फ्लूइड मैकेनिक्स. ओके. So remember, fluid mechanics is one of the basic foundation subject of mechanics.